Good afternoon, I'm Ghost Williams, and welcome to Black Father.
Black Father, the mini-series, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.
Welcome to Black Father, episode 5. We are glad you all are able to join us today. Episode 5 is mental health issues and the father's role in it. So I'm going to start by the first topic being how to recognize a mental health issue in a child. How to recognize a mental health issue in a child. A lot of us have children that are struggling and we don't even know that they're struggling. So this episode today is to pull some covers back, give you some resources that are out there all the time that we might not be aware of. We have two gentlemen that have a lot to say, so I'm just gonna back up to the background and get mine off last. I'm gonna start with Wiley G, because he is just beacon to go.
Well, I'm not. Listen, because I like to follow, you guys lead with stuff. So.
Let me switch it then. We're going to go to counseling.
There you go, man.
This is really his episode. We're just trying to get our little stuff out the way.
I feel like I've been put on this point.
It's
I
the
feel like
mental
I've been put on this
health
point.
professional
You see, I'm jittery. I'm nervous.
How do we recognize a mental health issue in a child, my brother?
One of the biggest things we got to look at is that we got to understand that we all have some type of issue, some type of mental health disorder that we're dealing with. And when it comes down to kids, it's really hard to say how do you recognize it, because there's so many different conditions out there that children develop over time. It may not show up in the first few years of their life. It may not show up in the first 5 years. Some children, they may not show up till they're about 8 or 10 years old. So we had to keep in mind that when it comes down to how do you recognize it, observe your children. We got to also understand that the damage that happened, let me not say that. There is damage that happens before children even get here. So if you want me to go that direction, let me go that direction first. A lot of parents think, oh, my child, everything's fine with my child, I'm pregnant, the doctor says everything's okay. We're not thinking about the items that happen or the issues that happen during pregnancy. If you're arguing all the time, if you're yelling and screaming all the time,
Stressed out.
if you're using drugs, if you're drinking,
Alcohol.
a lot of people, oh, I just smoked marijuana, that ain't affecting my child.
Definitely has an effect.
Understand something, this stuff comes out later on. It may not happen, it may not show right now, but when it does show, it's going to be one of those I don't understand what's going on phases. We got to understand that all of these things play a huge factor in the growth and development of children. So when you're pregnant, when mom is pregnant with her child, and she's a young lady or a woman who argues all the time, yells and screams all the time, keep in mind that those chemicals that's rushing through your body, all of that energy, all of that chaos that's going on around you, all of those chemicals are now strolling into your child.
Right.
So your child is going to be born.
So right from the beginning, from conception, from inception, he's saying that stress and any negativity can affect the mindset of a child, which can be the beginning of any mental issue from the jump. So I definitely understand that. I remember a few small items as far as ages of the children. I have a 2-year-old, so he makes eye contact with my wife and I all the time. So we kind of pay attention. If you have a child and that child's not making direct eye contact, He might be on the spectrum for autism. If you have a child and his speech is not quite coming along as it should, it might not be a mental issue, but it could be the sign of something that's a little bit imbalanced. So, Father, understand from the very beginning it's important to keep the right mindset for your wife or girlfriend if she's pregnant, to start off to have a chance of not having any mental issues. You want to keep her positive, you want to keep her focused, you want to keep her in a joyous mood as much as possible. Now I know those hormones be raging and you're gonna be everything but
child of God
under the sun.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
But
may I also add to
yeah, come on now.
be careful, because I wasn't going to go this direction, but I have to.
Right.
Be careful, because what dad does also affects the child.
Exactly.
Well, Mom, I didn't drink, I didn't use drugs during pregnancy. Okay, great. Did dad? Dad may have been a drinker, dad may smoke, dad may pop pills, dad may do whatever. Dad may have anger issues, attitude problems. All of that stuff that's in dad also goes into that child.
Right.
From the seed.
That's just it.
Yeah.
We're the only creation that continues to have intercourse while the pregnancy is going on.
Right.
There are no other animals that do that. So while mom is pregnant and you're still doing your thing, dad, guess what? That stuff is still going
Yes.
into the child. So you're still feeding the negative things.
Yes, you are.
And all these chemicals that are going into this child is creating a chemical imbalance that is opening up the doorway to different levels of mental health. Oh, there's bipolar, there's ADHD, there is all type of schizophrenic issues. There is
Yes.
there's so many other disorders. Autism. Autism is really becoming a huge thing. So we have to be aware of all of these elements, and we also have to be aware of the level of trauma. Oh, we'll go to that. Never
Now,
mind. I pause.
I'm a piggyback real quick, but we also have to be able to recognize, young father, a mental health issue in yourself. How can you recognize it in your child
If you can't see it in
if you
yourself.
can't see it in yourself? Now, that might sound a little odd, but I'm just going to give you something really simple, because I have had to have mental health help. And a lot of people don't know that about me, but at a young age, I lost brothers close to me. And back then in those young years, at 16 and 17, I realized that your mental health is as important as your physical health.
Yes,
We'll
it
go
is.
to the gym and work out and run on the track and lift some weights.
Right.
But there's mental health exercises we can do here to keep you a little bit more balanced.
Yeah.
One of the quick ways you can recognize whether you have a mental health issue in yourself is, do you make your choices from what you feel? If you are making your choices based in all emotion, you have a mental health problem. This is not what's supposed to happen. And this is one of the reasons the man was created to be the leader in a semblance of creation, because we are not supposed to operate out of emotional feelings all the time. Like a woman's allowed to do a little more because they're created to be more nurturing. It doesn't mean a woman can't be independent and make decisions. My wife made great decisions, some of them better than mine.
Right.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
I'm saying in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to make a decision out of anger. I'm not going to make a decision out of just being overjoyed because something's just great right now. I'm going to sit back and get in my stillness and find out what really is the best direction to go for the family, for the situation. So if you're having a cycle you can't get over, and you keep making the same mistakes, you keep making these same mistakes and you don't know why it is you're doing them, you may have a mental health issue that you're not dealing with. It doesn't have to be something as drastic as what he's talking about. It
Yeah.
can be something minor. Anger management is important. I definitely have had that issue. My sons get it honestly from me. So what he's saying is directly on point. But I know you have some direct information
Oh well.
on anger management, sir?
Well, anger management. Anger management could definitely be an angle of personality disorder.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I
Yes,
like
sir.
that.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Because that's exactly what, pretty much in a nutshell, what today's topic is personality disorder.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The personality disorder versus personality traits. You know, so one of the things that I've studied quite a while back, but even, you know, before today, I kind of went back and brushed up on it, is that we have to, just like if your toilet was broken and you got on YouTube to try to figure out what can I do to resolve this. It's the same thing about mental health. So today's discussion, I would encourage everyone after this video, at some point, take a moment, research personality disorders, and there's basically 3 different clusters of personality disorder.
Let's go with it.
Baby, let me have that, please.
Yeah, so you got 3 clusters of personality disorder, and basically each cluster covers all of these areas: the paranoia, the schizophrenia, the panic, the autism. It basically covers all 360 degrees of personality disorder. So there are 3 clusters of this disorder, and once you start going through them, once you start going through these things,
Stick it up.
you're basically gonna, even for me, I just start scratching my head like, damn, man, I think I may be suffering too. you know?
So hit you in the heart.
Yeah, man, yeah, I had to
I'm sitting
rewind
back
it.
there.
Like,
That's
man,
definitely me right
man,
there.
this is me. You know, so we all, to a certain extent, suffer from it, whether it be severely in a mild way. Even our kids, you know, because of brain development and them not maturing to certain ages, different phases of becoming who they are, learning who they are, establishing who they are. All of these things basically affect personality disorder to a certain extent.
Let me jump in.
Go ahead.
Because I want to touch on something that I'm about to get some big inboxes, but I'm going to say it anyway. First of all, we're not him, but we are ex-smokers. I'm talking about blazing, blunts, all that. I stopped years ago. A lot of people don't know that about me, but I had so much trauma, I used that kind of like a crutch. Let me tell y'all right now, if you smoking weed to calm down because you think you might not be able to handle your day or do something to somebody, you have anger management problems. Don't use these self-medications as a way you think you could calm yourself down. I'm talking about having a drink because you done had a hard day or you smoking all the time. These things are meant to be in balance in life. If you smoking every day, if you wake up and you got blood on the counter, I'm sorry, there's a lot of my partners. There's something in your soul you're not dealing with. And the harder you try to run from this, the harder it's gonna be when you smack up against it. You gotta deal with it with no weed, no alcohol. You might be in the county, you might be in the hospital, someplace you just can't get to it. Now it's looking you in the face. I'm gonna tell you now, get a hold of these crutches that you got. And I don't have nothing wrong with smoking if it's to a certain extent. But let me tell you what society's done. Society all of a sudden is giving y'all straight permission. Now you could go get a medical marijuana card. Like that's just your thing. The only person that needs to have a medical marijuana card is not somebody who think they just gonna freak out if they don't smoke. It's somebody who's in pain. Do I need to say that again? Physical pain.
Exactly.
I got some people around me that have physical pain that they think we don't know about. I know about it. So I understand him smoking every day. But other than that, if you just using it to calm down, you weak. Let me say that again. You're being weak. You're making excuses. There's no substance put on this earth, on this planet, that's stronger than what the Father in heaven gave you from the very beginning when you were in the womb, which is your mind. You can handle this pain if you learn how to do it. These gentlemen are here to help us get through this pain.
Now, with that being said, I want to give respect to some folks that actually opened up doors for me to have a better understanding of this. Dixie Foster at the Department of Juvenile Justice was
Dixie Foster.
a great person for me
Yes.
when I worked at Juvenile Justice, who allowed myself and my friend, my brother, Chris Clare, to take a training
Chris Clare.
called Target Trauma Treatment.
Target trauma treatment.
Which dealt with focusing step called Freedom Steps. Freedom Steps means focus, recognizing triggers, emotions, self-check, evaluate thoughts, define goals, options, and make a contribution.
Read that again.
Freedom Steps mean focus, recognize triggers.
Focus, recognize triggers.
That's so important to understand.
That's the
triggers. Emotion, self-check. Know how your emotions is handling you.
Right.
Okay, I did that last week.
Yes.
Okay.
Triggerish.
Evaluate thoughts, define goals, options, and make a contribution.
Make a contribution.
It's very important that you know what's guiding you to act a certain way, what's triggering you to act a certain way, what's making you respond the way you're responding. I give great credit to Marisol St. Jess, who was the trainer for that program with us. Dr. Julian Ford, who was the creator of that program.
Okay.
Those are the folks that helped us actually change the perspective of our thought process in the juvenile detention center. And in turn, it created a different way of looking at things for us as staff as well as the kids. And we turned that place around when we did that.
Right.
So many things happened when we created that program, when we implemented that program in our facility. So many things happened. So I will tell anybody that's out there listening to what we're saying, if you're using substances to cope,
To calm down.
with your quote unquote triggers, that's the wrong direction.
Because
That's the wrong
you
direction.
are a slave to those substances.
You
if
become.
if you can't get a substance,
Yeah.
you don't have no control.
You become a slave to those substances.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just smoking a little weed. Oh, I'm just drinking a little bit. A little bit turns into more, and more turns into a lot more. Then we have an addiction.
Right. So I'm gonna put this up in between each segment, and this is something that Counselor Damon has brought in. This NAMI.com is the National Alliance. Help me out here, brother. National Alliance of Mental Health Issues.
There you go.
And it has a great deal of resources in which you guys can find out a lot more about yourself and your children and anything else, even your parents or your family. That's NAMI.com. Now he's going to have some more.
It's a lot more to this mental illnesses. Some common types of mental illnesses, real quick, I'm gonna say this, is clinical depression, anxiety disorder, bipolar disorder, dementia, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, autism, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Those are the common forms.
Wow, weird, and worried.
We're gonna take our first intermission right here in this break, but we got so much more to get on this right here. I think this affects every family.
It does.
So we will be back in about 1 minute with more of Black Father.
Black Father, the mini-series, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.
You can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your family.
5.
Can we leave now?
On Black Father. And we are just getting crunk up. We really are. We were finishing off with some of the resources that were available to you. There are some nationally, there are some locally in each small city. But there's a couple questions I wanted to get to. I'm not sure if you two are aware. I know you probably are, but out on the vast internet here, our children are more affected in the last 30 years by autism and ADHD than any other race.
Yeah.
At a ratio that's just obscene. Now, I'm not really a whole conspiracy theorist type, but I do pay attention to facts. Mm-hmm. So now I have a 2-year-old, and I have to have him get immunizations for him and all these other things for him to attend school. I'm very careful about how we do that. We don't do all the shots at once like the doctors try to get you to do, because they get that big check for the day when they give all 6 shots at one time. We don't do that. We do 1 shot at a time. The immunization should not have any mercury-based chemicals in it, which the cheaper ones are mercury-based. And if you don't ask these questions of your pediatrician, they just gonna do what they want to do.
Yes.
And the big corporations, the Pfizers and the other ones who run all of these things, they have the say in what the doctors have the choice to use. So know what's going on into your child, because I'm not blaming everything on the immunizations, but I will say, that it just seems a little off to me that our kids are, 5 times as susceptible to ADHD and the spectrum than anyone else's. And with that, I'm going to give it back to you with what you were saying when we ended this last intermission.
Man, I don't even know what I was saying. There's so much going on in my head right now.
You were covering the resources that they have. You were saying there's in the Marion County also has its own.
Okay, so there are other, like I said, NAMI is a very big organization that talks about mental illness, and they give you an understanding for health insurance, finding mental health professionals, understanding diagnosis, what to do in a crisis.
And they have a suicide line.
They also have a suicide line.
Yes.
How to contact people dealing with faith and spirituality regarding mental health illnesses. Mm-hmm. People that have to go to work, succeeding at work with the mental illness, succeeding in life. It's not a bad thing to go out and reach for help.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not. Black fathers understand something about it. That is a pride thing that we got to shut down. It is not a bad thing to say, I need help.
Exactly.
When we sit back and just, or I need someone to help me with my child because I'm lost. I don't understand what to do. I don't know which direction to take. And I don't know what's going on with my child.
So we are here for solutions, providing resources. That is a lot of this segment. So what I'm going to do is switch to the second subtopic right now, and that is, what is the importance of anger management? Now, you kind of got into that a little bit already.
Yeah.
What are the symptoms when you know you really need a little more help than what you think you need? Now, I ain't talking about having your girlfriend strung up on the wall.
Well, no.
Around the neck. I'm talking about before that.
I would always like to say, just from the beginning, our first natural instinct is always the right thing to do. Like, we naturally want to do the right thing first. Me personally, I just know it's just always in me my first move is usually the right thing to do. It's what comes after that is where the trouble is.
Yeah, we don't see the consequences.
Right, so anger management, because it's like being an adult, this has consequences. And it's always smoke before the fire.
Yeah.
We say that, but a lot of these adults got childlike tendencies. And that's why I bring up the anger management, because anger in itself is okay. It's okay for you to get angry.
Good to have.
It's what you do when you get angry that you need the management.
Yes.
That's why it's called anger management.
And this is the thing about even tempered steel. You get the strongest steel by heating it up, cooling it off as many times as possible.
Great point.
So to be upset is a good thing because there's always somebody who gonna have a better combination to your trigger.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So being upset and learning how to manage it is very important because there's always a new level of being upset.
Always.
And somebody that's taking you to a place you've never been before in that space. You know, I've had a situation where, you know what I'm saying? It's rough out there, man. And
We just try not to go to jail.
it's rough.
We just try not to go. We ain't never been. We just try not to go to jail.
Man, it's rough out there. You
Let
know,
me just take a time. I gotta do it.
let me get some water, man.
I'm gonna take y'all back. We're gonna go back about 3 episodes ago. We were sitting in another room, and this dude said out of his mouth, which is the truth, he had no record. We talking about how he carries his weapon. He's licensed,
Right.
so he can do that.
Right.
And when he said that out of his mouth, I was thinking, is he really saying that? Is this really true?
Yeah.
Because I know your temperament.
Right.
And it is amazing to me that you ain't never had.
But I'm the coolest guy you ever want to meet.
Okay,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna shut up.
But guess what?
I'm really amazed that you've done all you've done.
But
The fact that he ain't amazing,
Because
I
he
know
would
that.
get it popping.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But I'm so cool on the other side. But that's the thing about being able to manage it because what I've learned with my own oneself is that it's always that street that take you there.
Yeah. It don't happen. It don't happen overnight.
It don't happen that, but so I've learned to know. Oh, there go the flashing light. I smell smoke. Like it's all kind of stuff that go off before I even get to the road.
Yeah.
So you have to know, like you say, we talk about your triggers.
Did he say I
He just
smell
said-
smoke?
Man, I smell all kind of stuff going on. Like rubber burning, this finna go bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to know that more than you can know anything else on this earth.
So that goes back to knowing your triggers.
You have to know that. Like you have to master those things.
You got and when we say triggers, we ain't just talking about the simplest things.
No.
We're not talking about, oh, I know that, you know, if you yell at me, that's gonna bother you.
The subliminal stuff is more.
We talk, see, but
Right.
see, this is where I got to go with on that one. It's the subliminal stuff. It's the subconscious things that you don't even think twice about.
That's right.
Because it didn't happen to you as an adult.
That's
So
right.
this is what I learned dealing with trauma. It didn't happen to you as an adult. It's something in your subconscious that has triggered you, and now it's led to stress.
Right.
So now here you are. It's the being left alone.
Being left alone.
It's the slamming of a door. It's the
But that don't even do it anymore, man.
No, but wait a minute. Because it's when it happened and you least expect it,
Right.
that it triggers you and you automatically respond.
Boom.
It's the things that when we looked over the triggers, it was given to us in an incarcerated situation. So it's for men or women who have been incarcerated. So the sheet would say the slamming of a door,
That's a trigger.
or the changing of a shift. Certain inmates may deal with certain
Guards.
better than other guards. That's a trigger. Okay, so those are the things that open up the doorway of thinking. Triggers can be anything.
They can.
At
You
a
know?
certain moment. So, reeling y'all both back in here, we want you to know that when it comes to anger management, one of the solutions that really can help is having someone to trust, a partner that you can call or contact in a moment
Man, that's so important.
and get you calmed down.
Boy, I
So
called
this
you
is one
so
of
quick one day. I called you about 5 times one day.
But now, if your partner happens to be in that same situation, that probably is not the one to call right then. We talking about somebody offset that when the situation happens, you can call and say, hey, listen, I'm on the edge right now. I need to be talked down. It's gonna be, somebody gonna be smelling smoke.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Your partner's response needs to be, what would Jesus do?
Right. What would
Unfortunately,
I'm sorry, that's funny in my head
a bunch
right now,
of us
man.
got partners that's gonna say, where you at?
and escaping death and jail and prison and all kind of undesirable.
Man.
So what happens is after you done got so many passes in life, and you know where it could have went wrong and things could have been different.
Yeah.
So you don't afford yourself so many more chances to be triggered, because we don't have any time to lose.
No.
But like I say, the thing here is mental health, and some of the things that bother you, your kids suffer from the same thing.
And you can work on things that bother you even if it's not in the moment. And that's an important part of anger management. If you know there's something that rubs you the wrong way, sometimes you need to work on it not rubbing you the wrong way. You are an incredible creation, so you have the ability to expand your perspective. Anger management is part of that.
So understanding your coping skills.
So I'm gonna ask each of you, and I'm gonna start with you.
Oh Lord, here we go.
What is the most important daily or weekly exercise to improve your mental health? What is your stress reliever that you love, that you think could really help someone in the audience? Music.
To me, music is a good one. Now, hold on. Because if I'm triggered, if I'm bothered, if I've gone to that level, what the guy said, the highest level of pissivity. If I've gone there,
Right.
I can't listen to Pop. I can't listen to Tupac. I can't listen to nothing gangster wise because my mentality
It's already there.
is all. I'm already locked and loaded. I'm ready to hop in the car and let's go.
So you do suffer from personality disorder.
I suffer from it. Me and all them in me.
We all of us do. Yeah.
So I use music, so I would have to listen to something to calm me.
Frankie Beverly and May.
Yes, sir. I will listen to
Dietrich Haddon.
Okay.
Song.
I love gospel music. I love my smooth R&B, but I also write. So I tell anybody, if you're a writer, write.
Writing is excellent.
Write.
Yes.
Journaling. Women have diaries. Journaling is also a good way to look at things. Okay? All you're doing is writing down your thoughts, writing down how you're feeling. And that's the thing that's really good. If you're feeling that moment, if you've been triggered, write down what's going on. That way you keep a track. Okay, so today, this happened. And I got triggered. Now what's your coping skill? How do you deal with it? You gotta understand the importance of building a bucket of coping skills that you can reach in and pull out at any given time.
Counterbalance.
That can help you reevaluate the situation and back away. Because if you don't, all type of other things come into play, which I'll address later. If you don't, things will start becoming so unbalanced that your focus will be off.
Can I add on to that right there? Pause. Let's pause. So what helps me with that? I've been driving trucks for 20 years. I've had moments to where you're broken down, you're calling everywhere, you got a language barrier, and they ain't coming to get you. Okay? And we talking about need a tow truck action.
In the middle of nowhere.
Right. So what helps me get through that is I've had enough life to know that it's all just a moment.
That part.
And so don't get caught up. You just passing through.
This too shall pass.
Yes. You just, it's a bad moment.
Yeah.
But it ain't enough to flip out and be all on the phone with the attitude, acting funny with the lady that's 10 states away that really can't help you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what helped me, like what you're saying. Like I've had enough life to know that I'm just in this just for a few moments, and
I'll be alright.
it's rough now, and I want to complain, and I want to call home, and whatever. But it's rough, you know what I'm saying? So, but how I would cope with the question is, I think one of my more peaceful things, how I deal with it, is I have a moment pretty much each day where I go through the day and I kind of see my whole day in vision.
Okay.
I see myself with no accidents, no injuries, no losing no limbs. Like because I seem like the days I don't have those moments, I have a flat tire, I hurt myself, I'll do something weird because I didn't have that moment where I saw my whole day ahead of me,
Okay.
and it's going how I want it to go.
Moment of bliss.
That's right. I kind of take that moment before I even and I can kind of just see as far as I can. If I got to go somewhere, I see myself going. I see myself back peacefully. Nothing happened weird along the way. And that helps me. And it seems like the days I actually do that, they kind of run flawlessly.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So I kind of vision what I want to happen. And then I usually can capitalize on that by just kind of going through my day and it's going pretty much, how I kind of vision it to go.
Another way that you can do that I would give to the people that's listening is find a way to nurture yourself every day. Find a way to nurture yourself every day. Do something nurturing for you. Oh, I gotta do this for my kids. Listen, your kids gonna be taken care of. You're gonna make sure of that.
Right.
But if you don't take care of you, who gonna take care of your kids?
We are going to leave it right there and get to this second intermission on Black Father, episode 5. We've got so many layers, as my partner G says, to delve into. We'll be right back in 1 minute.
Black Father, the mini-series, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.
We are back on set here at Black Fridays. I have just been informed by one of my producers here that we might have a little bit too much laughter. We want you to know we take mental health very seriously. But Counselor Damon and myself and G, we all know we've reached a lot of people by breaking the ice, relating, having some laughing moments more so than just, oh, how does that make you feel? I think you put it. So don't take the laughter as something we don't think is serious. It's very serious, but we're trying to bring it to the audience in a way in which they really can relate. So with that being said, there was something in the last topic we didn't get to, and that is I've got a few symptoms here of paranoid schizophrenia. I am going through this with one of my children. I have 7, so I'm not gonna say, but basically years ago he started talking in the third person, and I just thought he was playing, so I didn't really think nothing about it.
Which is a classic mistake.
Right.
Which is a classic mistake, a classic thing we do.
He had been vaping for years and also blazing, and I didn't think that much of a big deal because he had decent grades, he didn't really get in trouble, didn't have a criminal record, so I kind of gave him a little leeway. All mistakes on my part. Vaping and other hallucinogenics have definitely been tied to paranoid schizophrenia in young adults. So I want to put that right out there. Just because they're saying vaping is safe, I'm telling you, this is not the case in our community. I've got so many dudes out on the block right now that are young, 21, 23, they out of school, they might even have graduated, but they're not interested in holding a job. Their focus is not longer than 30 or 60 seconds of talking to them, and they off to something else. A lot of these are symptoms of things that could have been helped if I knew better as a young father at an early age. I just wanted to kind of get it out there that a lot of these things do lead to mental health sickness. And make no doubt about it, when you got a mental health issue, you have a sickness. So just like anything else, you go get that looked at.
So be careful.
Yes.
You know how you are. And I know, you want your kids to have fun, and you want them to enjoy life, but be careful how you allow your kids to have an imaginary friend.
Yes.
Okay? Right. Be careful. Oh, me and Jimmy are going to go and play. Well, who is Jimmy?
And at young ages, maybe, okay.
It's all right to a certain extent, but when the child starts to blame incidents,
right,
or little Jimmy,
Right.
or little Barbara. Well, I didn't do it. Barbara did it. We have to be careful because what I mean by be careful is we got to make sure we talk to our children about the behavior.
And that they're taking responsibility
For
and
their own-
accountability
exactly.
for their behavior. Now I'm gonna cut that off right here because that's gonna lead into another
That's
segment.
okay. Yeah.
Because we do have a spiritual side, young father, that's coming up that you don't want to miss in a few episodes. So anyway,
Interesting.
subtopic 3 is how has the mental health of the African American father been affected by the lack of knowledge of himself and his history? Here we go again. Not knowing oneself affects everything in life.
Yeah.
So I can't state the importance enough of finding out your true history. All of us, most of us have been raised in the European educational system, and it doesn't really touch on it. To be honest, you might get a little paragraph about MLK or Rosa Parks, but it's not a lot there. You really need to educate yourself on where you came from so you can educate your son and daughter, and they can educate their son and daughter. Now, in some places, this really was done. New Orleans, a couple other little spots that this went on heavy, but I'm saying it's kind of like a passing phase for us, and our true history doesn't need to be a trend. This needs to be something that's really important to us.
Life.
Right.
So I'm gonna just back up from the question. What y'all think about the lack of knowing oneself? How do you think that affects our mental health on a whole? Look at the black community. Look at the hood right now and the state of its mental health.
I mean, I'm kind of, it's just like when you talk to a guy and he know the last 5 quarterbacks of his favorite team, but he don't know his great granddad.
Wow. Wait, he said great granddad.
I mean, that's just simple news.
I don't know my real grandfather. I don't know my father's.
I don't really
father.
go past like the third one. So, but I'm just saying, like, we're so educated on stuff that really don't really give us any type of substance to know.
I don't know
who we
my
are.
great grandfather on my mom's side.
Well, guess what? If we got some work to
Oh, my
do.
dad.
Now,
We all got a little. We
let me
just got
clarify
a little
something.
work to do.
I know my father's father that raised him.
Right.
That's my grandfather that raised me.
Right.
I'm talking about his biological father.
Yeah.
I never met in my life.
We have to know.
And this goes on
Yeah.
time after time. All the people behind the camera right now in this room, the producers, I guarantee you, there's some people in this room right now, they don't know their real biological grandmother or grandfather somewhere.
I've
That's
only
very
had
common.
one grandparent my whole life. My mom's mom. I've never met or even I know their names, but I've never seen them. Never had it really. I mean, I had one. She was around. For
Young father, while you living, do your history. Find out your history.
Yeah.
Track them down. Don't let your pride stand in your way. If you need to seek out your father's father or your mother's father, whoever that is, why you still have a chance, get that done so you can really give some lineage to your children, because this is part of what's wrong with our neighborhoods and our communities.
Well,
we don't know
Well,
ourselves.
like you spoke on a couple of weeks ago, like we have fathers, uncles who have trades, years of experience, knowledge that you cannot be just taught
And
unless you
don't pass
get
it
it
on.
from them.
Right.
And they die with that information.
and it's gone.
Right. So that food that you love around a certain time of year, you know who responsible for cooking it. You should be certain women, ladies.
Mhm.
Y'all should be in there
Trying to
picking
get
up the game. You know. So yeah. You ain't even missed all of that, yeah, man, come on now. But yeah, we have people in our family, even that raise us, that die with certain stuff that they should not leave this earth with that information.
That is not recorded. And other cultures don't do that.
Right.
The Europeans, the Asians,
They
the
pass it on.
Latins, they record everything down, or they pass it on down. And real quick, what he's saying in a nutshell is, if my father's doing something and I don't feel like I want to do that as a career, I'll move to something else. If nobody really comes along, there's stuff he would have given me because I was his son that he won't give anybody else. This is kind of what I'm saying.
Right.
So young father, I'm not saying you force your children or you force yourself, but know your history, know your lineage, track down your DNA so you can find out what's really going on.
An important side to that is know your history. Know your history, but also know your family history. Because what you need to also know is family illnesses, family mental health. I need to know that my great-great-grandfather had high blood pressure or had schizophrenia. I need to know that I had an aunt that had cancer. I need to know these things.
Let me interject real quick. And he needs to know this not because he's gonna go run and tell the doctor, "Oh, I got a history of this, and this."
No.
He needs to know this so he can break it.
Exactly.
He can break that cycle. He can break that chain.
Exactly.
He can break this thing that's been going on for a long time. And there are ways to do it.
Yeah.
This is one of the reasons Dr. Sebi was killed off, but that's a whole nother
That's a
conversation.
whole nother episode.
Go ahead and continue, brother.
We need to know these things because we need to be able to pass them on to our own kids. I need to be able to tell my sons, you know, hey, I'm a diabetic and I have high blood pressure. I need them to know to take better care of themselves,
Right.
so that they don't pick up that trait, because that's a trait that's in my family history.
You have the potential to catch it if you're not careful.
You have the potential to become a diabetic.
Right.
If you don't eat better, if you don't exercise, if you don't take better care of yourself. I need you to do better than what I did. I didn't know it. My mom was a diabetic, and I just thought, oh, hey, here's what it is. When I became a diabetic, I didn't know what was going on with me.
Right.
I had no idea what was going on with me. I lost vision. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. I had no idea what was going on. And I didn't talk to nobody about it other than my wife. My wife said, you need to get to the hospital. When the doctor told me what my blood sugar was, I just laid down. Let me lay down, doc. I'm just lay here for a little while. You gotta know these things. It's important for your children to know it, so that they know what to do to not get hit with these situations.
Right, exactly. What to do to not go and make the same choices that you made. And let me say something else that's gonna sound a little bit strange, but I know this to be true. This is off on a little bit of a tangent. Just like you speak life, you can speak things that are not life into you. So the way you think about something really determines how you move. If you thinking you're gonna be a diabetic,
Yep.
you kind of leaning that way.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Understand mentally, we talk about mental health. You can tell yourself over and over enough, I am not an alcoholic. I am not a weed head. I am not. Even if you are, and eventually you'll start coming out of it.
You know,
sooner or later. Your entire body remakes itself. My numbers might be off, but 72 to 130 hours, your entire body remakes itself besides the bone. All your cells regenerate. Now, the framework of your mind determines what kind of cells you are generating. Stress is the physical manifestation of spiritual wickedness. So there's an opposite
There's that
to
word
that.
again. There's that word again. There's that word again.
Okay, I'm gonna get off that real quick because we're going deep, but I'm sticking to the mental health part of it. As so you think, is as so you speak, is as so you act, is as so you go. So just line those things right up.
this is
and
what
boom.
you told me this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I wrote these notes to myself. It said, whatever you believe, you put energy into manifesting. You told me that.
Yes, sir.
That's
And I went right to my phone
It's true.
and saved it.
It is
so
so
what
true.
you're saying is exactly true. Like, the moment you think of something, your everything magically and all it's stuff that starts taking you that direction.
Yes.
So it's best. I know we're about to wrap it up. What I did learn, there was a movie on Netflix. It was about vampires. Okay.
Okay.
Real good. It was interesting. Out of all of my getting to that whole thing I watched, they could only cast the spells, the incantations with the correct verbiage.
It is.
So the words were you had to have the what you say is the verbiage is the action.
Now think about
if that's right, if you say something, the words have the power.
Yes.
You're speaking into existence.
Hallelujah give you a one energy. Punk gives you another vibe. You see what I'm saying? See, so it's like the words, like you say, you can call certain things onto yourself. Even not without just thinking about it too much draws that energy. It draws the energy. So if you're gonna do anything, take the high road. Speak life. Even if you looking at the leg broke, just be like, man, I'll be dunking next week on it.
Right.
Just speak life into it, regardless of the illusion of what you see.
And I would go on a side note real quick, but a lot of people don't understand what it really takes for LeBron James to be LeBron James. Now, don't get me wrong, the dude is athletically built for what he does. He was given a gift by God. He's got the size and stature. We all know he has the money to get these cold machines he gets into. People don't know after each game, he got a thing. He don't have to soak in ice. It makes him cold for his muscles. I get all that. But there's a mindset that this dude gotta have. There's a mindset you gotta have to do this all the time and say, I am going to play for 20 years. Kobe had this.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike had this.
Right.
He had to not take a little baseball break. Dr. J had this.
That's right.
Bill Russell had. These dudes have a mindset to say, I'm gonna perform till I can't get out of bed.
Right.
But it's a mental. If a person can do this with a basketball on a basketball court, think about you. Think about what you love. If you really put your focus to what it is you want to get done, there's no limit to what you can do, and that is a mental health issue. Have the right attitude when you come out of bed every day and hit that floor. If you don't, stay in the bed. It's okay to have a damn bed every once in a while. The last segment we got real quick is, I'm sorry, brother.
No, I was about to start.
We're gonna wrap it up on
Giving up a couple of informative things.
We're gonna get to that at the end. The last little segment here is, what effects do European education, religion, culture, and lifestyle have on African American children? Now we talking about their mental health. Now,
Another layer. Another layer.
I'm gonna read this again.
Another layer.
What effects do European education, religion, culture, and lifestyle have on African American children? Now I'm gonna start. I'm gonna give y'all a minute to think. My children being born over here in the Western Hemisphere in USA with pretty much everything they needed made them entitled. I think a lot of our audience can understand our children being entitled. And when you're entitled, that gives you the key to open the door to get into stuff you might not usually get into if you wasn't entitled.
Right.
I'm talking about the vaping.
Right.
Now I'm talking about the smoking weed and getting the little Skittles. Skittles being candy, ecstasy,
Yeah,
stuff they
right.
shouldn't have in school. You and they in there high, the teachers don't even know.
Don't even know why.
Because they were entitled, it gave them the opportunity to get the stuff I wasn't really thinking about. So young father, don't entitle your kids. Make them work for what it is they're getting, their allowance, their new Jordans, whatever it is. Set some limits.
Right.
The whole thing about 2 hours on the phone a day, it might sound crazy to you. Set some type of limit, whatever it is.
Right.
I know the culture of the European, which is the basic society that we live in, and I'm part European. My mother's, I'm half and half. Let's just straight up. So I know both cultures. I'm not mad at that culture, but what it does to our African American children is it robs them of their true history. So they want to assimilate into the European culture right away. How do they do that? Religion, straightening their hair, whatever it is they're doing. We've been talking about it for years, but I'm talking about it from a mental health standpoint.
Yeah.
The pressure it is for them to fit in and be accepted in school, even with their little friends. I don't care, at the mall. Like, there's a pressure on there. It's so tough that it's putting an undue weight on our children because they're over here and we're not in the native land. And I'm not mad at that because, you know, we done grew up pretty good over here. We got some great opportunities. But at the same time, when I see some of my counterparts come from the motherland, from Africa, they speak in 4 different languages.
Right.
They are doctor and they got legal.
That part.
They know exactly about passports and what the rules are in different countries. They are so well-rounded. Then I look at me and I go,
How don't I know this?
in Canada, I think I've been in the Caribbean.
Man, but you know what? I just think that just naturally, man, that phone, you probably could fry chicken on this phone.
Ooh, this thing doing everything.
Yeah.
You can't fry chicken, you look it up.
And get the grease out, you know what I'm saying? Like, this thing is such a, I mean, we are, like, in this moment right now, I think we have more distractions than we can just shake a stick at.
I think.
I mean, because how can you get sharp?
if you don't have the tools to sharpen it.
Well, that's right. I mean, because the thing about it, even if we did want to get sharp, we're faced with tampered information,
Yeah.
scattered information.
Yeah.
I know this is, I know this like opening up another layer because it's scattered, it's tampered, it's not
Rewritten, say it.
That's right.
Rewritten.
It's all that stuff combined, and we really want it, but at the same time, on our way to it, we can see a little IG model, and then that opened up some other stuff, and now we kind of
get
forgot
distracted.
where we was even going now. So it's just so much stuff, man, that being around Ghost, like he speaks of stuff off camera, like when we talk, that I'm just totally in awe that he even, like, so I want to know, so the information, man, like we're really up against lack of information.
But it is out there.
It's there,
It's
though.
there.
It's
You
there.
all know where to look and have the
Sifting
right
through it, though, is
resources.
the thing.
This is the thing, okay?
Yeah.
So the sifting through it
Is the thing,
right?
yeah, man.
But we become lazy.
And distracted while being lazy.
Say it
Become
again.
lazy.
That's right.
Okay? And
Yep.
today's time, society has given us so many different electronic devices
Yes.
to help improve our laziness.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You used to be able to open the refrigerator and know what's not in there. Now you can just boop.
You can look from you can look from the outside
Yeah.
into them now, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
all these extra things, and it's made us lazy.
You're right.
We use our phones as babysitters for our children.
I think we
There's
should
no-
just wrap it up for
There's
today.
there's no connection.
Hey, yeah,
anymore.
man, you
That
right.
creates some mental health issues.
You are right.
All right.
It took us the whole hour to get to that, what you just said, man.
We're gonna let
My bad.
we're gonna let me put some more resources out here
Yes.
at the end of the show.
If you know someone that is in need of help, don't be afraid to say it.
Right.
Don't be afraid to ask them. You know, the one question, I think that's the hardest question to ask a lot of people is, do you feel like harming yourself? The suicide question is really hard, but you gotta be able to ask the question.
Yes.
When you hear certain language, when you hear people talk about, you know, how I'm just so tired of this and I'm so tired of that, and then sometimes I just feel like drifting away, that's a conversation that deserves attention.
Yes.
And yeah, sometimes we may go overboard, but don't be afraid to ask, do you feel like hurting yourself? Have you ever felt like hurting yourself? Doesn't mean you're gonna, call and report this person to get them Baker Acted or what have you, but they may just need to get something out of their system. So you got, the suicide hotline number, what was?
988.
988 nationally is the National Suicide Hotline. 988.
Along with that, there is a 211 number that you can also call that gives you local information, and that 211 number opens up the door to all type of resources for mental health, all type of resources for personal things like maybe utilities or family issues or what have you, other levels of counseling. There's the Kids Central agency, kidscentral.org. DCF has myflfamilies.com. Please go on these websites and just look through. There's a lot of information in there that you can go on to that'll help you give a different understanding of what's going on in the mental health field.
Yes.
And once again, NAMI.com.
And also on a personal note, I know a lot of people already know this, but for the three of us, if there's any of us that you need to inbox, all of us have people that we share things with one-on-one, and it doesn't go any further between
definitely.
myself and that person, himself and that person. So we are great listeners. Inbox us, even if there's someone out here right now that really needs something. We do this on a regular anyway, so don't feel and don't hesitate at all if there's a question or something, or even a direction you need to be pointed in. Now, on that note, gentlemen, I think we are going to wrap this episode up. Even though we weren't able to get to everything, we will have mental health touches on everything. So really, every segment we have is a mental health segment in a way. So we will be back next week, and we thank everyone for joining us. Again, inbox us with questions or just comments or concerns or whatever you want. We will be getting to them on the air. Hopefully, week after next, I think we're going to be set for that. Right, Peace? So we are getting there. We thank you again for joining us on Black Father. This has been episode 5. You all have a blessed and successful and mentally healthy work week.
Don't forget to nurture yourself.
Yes, that's it.
Black Father, the mini-series. Streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. This mini-series is an attempt to bring more respect, more truth, more love and accountability into the home of the Black family and community. Black Father will help with a multitude of issues. Black Father, streaming every Sunday at 2 p.m. on Facebook Live. Black Father, the mini-series.